Okay. Hi, Rachel. She's almost here.
Hey,
Hey, how's it going?
good.
Okay, let's see. I've got Julie out there looking for us. So hold on just a second. All right, go
I
to.
struggled with the homework last night.
All
There's
right.
questions that I was like, it's already getting late, so I'm just like, I was like, I'm getting there, but I'm just like, it's getting to a point where I'm like tired.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I believe I didn't do like 3 questions on it.
Okay.
I got like a like halfway like grade for it.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's gonna be like 10 points off, but I'm gonna try again with it
Okay.
as well so that I can get a higher grade.
Absolutely. I would too. And plus two, that'll not just for the grade purposes. I'm trying to scoot everything around on my desk. Sorry. Not just for the grade purpose, but so that you can also understand it enough to whenever you are, on your own with this, you'll be able to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to call up my homework set also and get this ready to go for any questions that we have. So if you have
Hmm.
um, actual questions from the homework, or even if we want to look at the notes, I can pull those up too on my iPad to help out with those. I'm trying to get Julie in here.
I'm trying to get logged into my math lab, and I can share my screen as well
Sure.
on what I struggled with.
Absolutely. That'll be awesome. Um, because more than likely our numbers will be just a little bit different from each other.
Yeah.
Um, Yay, there she is.
Improve score. Continue. Okay.
Okay. All right, we've got a bunch of people today. Yahoo!
Oh, you don't have the sharing available
Oh,
for
for the Zoom?
yeah.
Yeah. Let me see if I can. I'm
Because I
trying to
know
get.
I did it with one of my professors. I'm like, I know I didn't disable it.
Hi, Julie.
She's
You
getting her,
found us.
yeah. She's trying to get her audio to work.
You're good. Okay, let's see. Meeting settings. Let me see if I can go in here and. Okay, no, 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 and no. Okay. I just have to find, I think I might have had to have set it up at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I think I did. Okay, my bad. Well, I'll tell you what, next time I set these up, I'll write myself a note here to make sure I turn on screen sharing, because at this point I can't. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
But we can totally, like I said, let me call up my homework, and then if you tell me what problems like you're having.
Yeah, I can just read it off and then
Sure. Let me see if I can't get in here super quick. Okay. Now, one thing that I plan to share with you, and I'll get that up there this afternoon. Let me write myself a note. There is a formula sheet, okay? Just like we had for financing, this will be a formula sheet for probability. So for chapter 11, it will have all of the formulas so far that we've gone over, like permutation, combination. It also has, mostly I'm going to want you to use your calculator anyway on those two, but then it also has probability. And I also put on there from last semester, because I wasn't, I grew up with, like, my grandmother wouldn't let us watch TV a whole lot, but she'd make us do stuff like play cards all the time. And so I knew cards probably since I was 5 years old. But if you're not familiar with Are y'all all familiar with cards? Like,
I'm iffy.
okay. So like on this formula sheet, which you'll have also for your test, you'll have on there all the pictures of the cards, and they'll be in red or black. You'll have all the hearts, the diamonds, the clubs, the spades. And so there's 52 cards. And I think in all of our examples, they even say it's a 52 card deck. There are card decks that are not 52 cards at a time. So, but ours will be. Okay.
I've had some of those questions in my homework.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. You should have already. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see. Okay. Julie, you're sending me stuff. So let me see. Is that still you?
Oh, you know what? I could send it to you and we can look over mine.
Oh, it's okay. Either way.
Yeah.
How about let's kind of look at the first 3 sections real quick to see if anybody has any questions, because the first 3 are what we call our counting principles. In these sections, it's not it's not one of those surprises that your numbers are huge, absolutely huge in some of these answers, because what you're doing is you're counting the number of ways something can happen. So sometimes there's only 5 ways something can happen, and sometimes there's 5,000 ways something can happen. So I know that whenever I first learned about the counting principles, I was blown away by the number of ways you could like rearrange things or pick so many at a time. And so do expect numbers to get large, okay, in 11.1 through 11.3. Are there any questions in, Rachel, I just got yours. Let me see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm struggling with.
You're in 11.5? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is everybody okay in 11.1 through 11.3?
Yeah, I was fine in those.
Are you okay? Just
Yeah.
kind of give Julie, you good with 11.1 through 11.3? All right, awesome. Zach, you've muted, so I don't know. And what about Jay? You okay?
Yeah. I was just coming today just for this update, so I don't get too confused.
Okay, sure, no problem. And while I have you guys, what I did was I went ahead and put up there what the notes look like for, let's see, 11.6, I believe I put up last night, and I think 11.5. Is that right? I think. Anyway, I just put up a couple of sets of notes the other day, or last night, for you guys too. All right, so 11.4 and 11.5 kind of go together. Okay, 11.4 sets up here's the basic idea of what probability is. And so, Julie, I'm going to use it as an example, so don't get upset or nothing. Okay. But when I wrote you, did you read that note that I wrote you back about probability?
Yes.
Okay. So
I'm still just so confused.
Oh, sure. Okay. So here's the deal. We've just come from 3 sections that tell us something like, oh, hey, you could have like 1,000,000 ways to arrange these things. And then we go into a section that says, okay, what are your chances of actually this happening? And so in probability, what you're trying to do is you either have a no way will it happen, and that's 0, or yep, it's going to happen 100% of the time. That's the number 1. So your probability, let me get into a whiteboard here real quick like. Okay, so what we know is that the probability of whatever your event is what we call it, has to be a number that's between 0 and 1 inclusively, okay? You can't have the probability that I pick a red marble is 8. It's not going to be possible because the number 8 is not between 0 and 1. So when we're doing probability, you'll notice that I use a lot of the notations that we've learned before. This says, how many ways can your event actually happen? That's what N of E means. Compared to what's the number of ways your sample, or the number of items in your sample, okay? And so if you go through my notes, you'll see the very first thing I ever do is I write down what's my sample and what's in my sample space and how many terms are in my sample space. And so that's what's so very important, is to realize what you're working with. So this right here, okay, if we were to put this in words, is this is just simply the number of ways your event can happen. That's what that means. Down here, this means the number of possible outcomes that can happen. So it may not be something that you want to happen, but it's going to happen. One of the things that our homework deals a lot with is a fair die. And so if you have a fair die, usually they're six-sided unless they tell you otherwise. Then what I know here is that if I were to roll a die, what do you expect to happen? Don't you expect to see one of these numbers here? If you roll a fair die?
Yeah.
Yeah, the top number is either going to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. That's it. Those are your only choices. So that's what we call our sample space. That's why I use a big S right there, sample space. And then once I have my sample space written out, I can actually now go in there and count the number of outcomes that I saw. So there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's a total of 6. Remember that N just means what's the number in your set. There's 6 things in my set. Wow, it's a bad looking 6. Hold up. I can do better than that. Okay. Now, if for some reason someone said, okay, now that you know what your sample space is, and they ask you, okay, what's the probability of you rolling a 4? Okay, what's the probability of you rolling a 4? Now what they've told you is, I know what my event is. Okay, my event is this thing right here. My event is rolling a 4. When you go back and you look at your sample space, how many ways can you roll a 4 if you roll the die one time?
Say it again.
If you look at your sample space right here, how many different values up here would I write down here if I said I'm expecting to roll a 4? How many 4s do you see up there in the sample space?
One.
Oh, 1, right. So the number of times the event can happen is 1. That's because in our event, we're looking for just the number 4 because that's what they told us to do. And sure enough, there's only one item in our event. It's the number 4. So when you go back up to the definition of probability, this definition right here, we would say then the probability of rolling a 4, that's going to equal to the fraction. And our fraction is going to be the number of times the event could have happened, which is a 1. Yeah. And the number of outcomes that could have happened was 6. So 1/6. That's how we get our answers. Now, this is what we call theoretical probability also. There's a real good chance that you and I could roll a die 50 times and never get a 4. But we're saying is that on average, you and I should get a 4 1 out of every 6 times. Okay? So this is the actual answer. And you see how that value is definitely between 0 and 1? 1/6 is definitely a number that's between 0 and 1. I forget what the value is, like 0.16 or something like that, I think.
Now I understand your answer or your reply.
Okay. Does that make sense as far as, I mean, you really, I hate that we think we know the answers to things and so we just answer them. And if you'll dissect this problem the way I've tried to take you through the notes, it sure will help you. So
yeah,
the number one,
I struggled. I kept looking at the notes and everything. I'm just like, I still don't understand this. Like,
and I try to color code things too for y'all so that, like, if I'm highlighting in a certain color, I try to use that pen color. And I've got so many more colors over on the paper than I have here to use. And so I like using my program to upload my notes with you. But the first thing you want to do always is this right here. Always
Where are your notes on are they on Pearson or are they on Canvas?
They're on Canvas. If you
Oh.
go to test 3, is it test 3? Yeah, test 3 material. It says chapter 11 notes. And if you open that up, that's where I'm loading all the notes up to.
Oh, okay.
And then what I'll do too is I'll make sure that I upload these Zoom meetings also. So like if you're like, oh, what did we say or what did we write? Then you can go back to the Zoom meeting and actually like cruise through that video too if you want to.
Okay.
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 But like I said, if you'll kind of, I mean, I hate that sometimes it takes this long to work through a problem when you think it's so simple, but when it's so simple, that doesn't mean that you understood what you did. So that's why I said the first thing is to do your sample space. The second thing we want to do is we want to talk about our event, right? And then knowing what this definition is for probability, then we can set up what our fraction would look like. Okay.
Okay. Are on our test, or you think we're going to be back in school, or did they say that, I'm sorry, I worked the whole time?
They said that we're going to be continuing online, even if you're going to sign up for the summer classes. Summer classes are going to be online too.
Yep.
Okay. So our test is going to be online too. Is it going to be timed?
Yes.
Oh.
And the reason
you get what Professor Haas was telling me is you have 3 days to do it, but you choose one day and you have to sit through one time period of doing the test.
exactly.
Okay.
Right. So the time of the test, I'll put a 2-hour time limit on it, which will be plenty of time. You will have a formula sheet. I will, like I said, I'll upload that for you here today. And then you'll have that. And then what you'll do, and this has worked out pretty well with my other classes so far, they've all had a test. You will work your work on paper, okay, because you won't have a printed test this time. You'll work your work on paper, and then you'll upload it to Canvas for the test 3. And before we get there, I'll make sure I have explicit directions about how to and where to put everything for me. So the test will end up being a multiple choice, okay?
Where's the test going to be? On Canvas?
I'm going to put it in Canvas because my math lab is very volatile. Yesterday it went down for a few hours and it came back up. And so I just really don't want to have that situation happen to us. I will still give the window of 3 days though. I'll let you know when it's going to start and when it's due. Okay.
Okay. And I have Suddenlink for my internet, and I have been having so much trouble. It goes down like all the time. Like one day it was completely down the whole day. And
right.
But okay, I just want to make sure. I don't know what everybody else has, but
I have AT&T, and yet my internet is laggy at the moment too. So I'm just like, But because also my parents are working from home, so that's also an issue, and all of our devices are under the internet. So,
well, that's one reason why we decided to give y'all a window of at least 3 days, so that I'm gonna go ahead and suggest something to you because this has happened in one of my classes already. If you wait till the very last minute to go and take your test, and the internet for whatever reason is down at your house, there's not a whole lot we can do about that because I've given you, what would that be? 72 hours to take the test. So be careful.
Is the starting date not the 16th?
Do what now?
Is the starting date for the test still the 16th? Because it shows the 16th in Canvas.
I think so. I've got that written down at some place. My notes are not very, hold on.
And is the test gonna be multiple choice, or some questions we'll have to type in?
No, I think it'd be easier for me to let you go ahead and have a multiple choice test. And then what'll happen is that won't be total points right there. Your total points will come from when I go and grade your work.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll have a response on the Canvas test. And
Mm-hmm.
then when I go and look up your work, then your work has to support your answer. And so in order for
like when we do like say one of the examples is like a card deal that I worked on one of them, like 52C4, do we have to, you want us to work all that out on paper?
No, please no.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No. No. And what I'll do is, if you do have something, and I don't mind giving something as simple as that, because I think that's still a good objective to test y'all over. But I'll put in there, basically your work would be, you're going to write down, like you said, you would have had this on your paper. Okay. And then I'm expecting you to go straight to the calculator.
Okay.
I just am. Okay.
Some of my teachers are also giving points for, one of my teachers are also like, one of my English teachers, they're giving points. So we're having an essay coming up, and if you're struggling with the essay, they're giving some points for also with the math lab. Not math lab.
The writing lab?
Yeah, writing lab, but there's also a math lab for us. If you attend one of those, they're giving points for also.
Okay.
As long as you have notes and everything on what they suggested and all that.
Well, that's good. That's good. Yeah, they don't have a way. They don't have a way to actually give partial credit like I do, because really, I mean, it's a whole different situation when you go to write an essay, because they're looking for different things. And what I'm looking for here is, do you have the concept down? Okay. Mm-hmm. And so if you realize that it's 52 cards, choose 4, and the order doesn't matter, then I expect to see something like this on your paper. If you accidentally say, well, it's 52 permutation 4, this means the order does matter now. So does my student know the difference between the order matters and it doesn't matter? That's what I'm looking for. So, I mean, you've got the best of all worlds, to be honest with you. You've always started out with having a formula sheet, so the formula sheet will be there for you. The second thing is that we do have what they call what's it called? An action log. I guess it's called an action log. And so when you're on the test, I can actually see, not you necessarily, but I can see what your pace is like. And so this is one way we are trying to, you should be on your honor. You really should be anyway. I know what's going to happen in some cases. But if you stray away from Canvas too long, then the assumption is that you're doing something you probably shouldn't be. So it gives me all of the updates on what's going on as you're on Canvas taking a test. Okay. So I do have a log of that, just FYI. They've also now gone into an agreement with Honor Lock, and Honor Lock is something that I can, on my end, lock down your browsers, and then also ask you to upload that to for your test. So if I do that, I don't know that you have to actually do anything about it, but then
you have to download the app from Cougar Web in order for that. Like everyone has to.
Sometimes on this Pearson though, I mean, I'll be on there for a while because it takes me a while to figure out one. So I'm literally sitting in front of it the whole time,
but hopefully by the time we do get to the test, and I will, you can also, I'll double check let me write myself a note that I need to double check what our post test looks like on my math lab. Mm-hmm. To make sure that it's relevant for the test. I put up there at the top of my notes there, do you see that the test 3 is going to start on the 17th of April?
Through the 20th, okay.
And it'll close on the 20th. What I'll do is, I'll do you like I've done my other classes. I've got people who work all weird hours right now. And so on the 17th, it's actually going to open up at 12:01 in the morning. Okay. And then it's going to close on the 20th at 11 p.m. Because when you get done with your test, whenever you get done with your test, it's going to give me a posting time. Okay. When you submit your test at the bottom, it'll say, it sends me a note and says, so-and-so submitted their test at blah, blah time within the next 20 minutes. Okay. And that's how much I'm going to give you. In the next 20 minutes, you need to take a snapshot of your work and you need to upload it to Canvas. And like I said, I will put out specific instructions for you so you'll know exactly where to go. And we'll even talk about it that week before. Okay.
How many problems are we going to have?
I was just about to ask that.
Yeah, we just really can't have that many, which scares me because the lesser number of problems, the more they're worth.
More, yeah.
So in my college, let's see, in my pre-cal class, I think they had 13, but they had to work every one of them out. So it was a little bit different for them. In college algebra, we had 20, and I'm thinking that was just a little bit too many. And so I'm looking at probably 15 or 16 at the very most.
15 will be good.
Yeah, 15.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I'm hoping so. That'd be easy enough to do, you know.
And one other question. I don't get on these all the time because since this all started, I run a store and our busiest days are Thursdays. Like we sell firearms and we sell bukus of firearms.
I bet.
So the people are just going crazy right now. So like I'm actually at work right now.
Okay.
And I'm here on Thursdays, and Thursdays I probably can't get on. Does that count against our attendance?
No, 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 no. This is totally optional. This is totally optional. I like to at least know that y'all are out there somehow. So some people have been like, you've been emailing me some questions or whatever. So I know you're okay. Priscilla came on not long ago and told me she's okay. I've got, I usually have Zach and Rachel's been on here before and Jay's been on here before. So I'm just really
it's just last week was like one of those days where I also had to watch my brother because my mom was on the business call and we're just all like flopping around. My dad's working from home, so I have to make sure he doesn't go bother my dad. And then, but now my mom's on unemployment as well. So right now the only person that's working is my dad. And if my dad gets unemployed, oh Lord.
Yeah.
Help ourselves because he's the one who earns the most amount of money. And so me and my mom are gonna be. My mom, she said they might not approve her because of her IRS thing.
There's no telling. Yeah.
They already told me the amount I'm gonna be getting. But my file date's on the 16th. No, 12th. Yeah, 12th.
Well, please know that I'll be able to work with you guys as much as I can. Okay, that should not be an issue. Like I said, these meetings here are totally optional. I will totally save them and put them up there for y'all. You can see, hopefully you've looked at the syllabus, and I did have to cut out our last chapter in order for us to finish what I thought reasonably on time. And that's the nice thing about this class is that we change so much from topic to topic. It wasn't really a big deal. So you're not losing out on anything, to be honest with you. But I do want us to be able to finish strong in here. And like I said, I'm looking at, are you getting your homework done? How are you doing on your homework? You know, the fact that you show up here is irrelevant to me. If you're here, great, I'll help you. If you're not here, then great, I've got work to do. It's one of those kind of things. It's just like an office hour is what it is for me.
Yeah.
But I do feel like if I can at least get the word out to some people, and then I'll also put announcements up there for y'all too about what's going on. But that's what I'm using these days for. Okay.
Yeah, before I got onto this call, my professor, she didn't unlock, she thought she unlocked everything for yesterday's class. And we were going back and forth. I'm like, it's not working. And then I guess she got busy with something else and totally forgot to unlock it. And then so last night I emailed her. I'm like, hey, I still don't see the assignment. So she got back with me today and we were going back and forth as well, trying to she was using me to see if it's working, because when she launched Student View, it was showing something else. So I was sending her screenshots of what I'm seeing.
Sure,
and
sure. That really does help us too, because we see our view of things. We can turn on a canvas view of what a student would see. And just because it works with me doesn't mean it'll work with y'all. Because maybe my computer has something downloaded that yours doesn't. So yeah, I'm running into that with one of my other classes right now too. We're using Microsoft Stream. But one thing I do want to make sure that you realize is that, you know, we are, like I said, we're in this till the end. Okay. We're not going to give up on the course. We've spent way too much time getting ready. And so we're nearing the end of the course. I don't know if you realize that or not, but we basically have 4 weeks left. Okay. We can do it.
I feel like we just I got cheated because I signed up with a teacher because I really wanted to be in a classroom.
I know, right?
I got you.
Yeah, I feel that too. I'm like, I am struggling. I'm here staying up till like 3 o'clock in the morning when I was like when I was in class. I was like,
would y'all want me to so that you feel like you're more, I mean, I know you're never really we're not all gonna be together again, but one thing I can do, even though I've put finished notes out there for you, what I can do is I can call up a blank copy of my notes, and then I can like record a Zoom session for you and just post it. Would that be helpful for you too, if I talked you through the problems?
Yeah.
Yes,
okay. Absolutely.
That's what one of my teachers are also doing. One of my other teachers, for the art project, because I'm also in an art class. My art teacher on the first day and everything, for lectures and stuff, she also goes on Zoom, but like she was like, do y'all just want me to upload the PowerPoint, and if y'all have any questions, email me? I'm like, everybody, we were taking a survey on how many people would like it and how many people wouldn't like it.
Right.
And what she was telling everybody, like on the first, after that survey, after the first Zoom session, everybody was like, I'd rather have the lecture and everything. I want to feel like I'm in a classroom. And yeah.
Well, that's what, for pre-calculus, that's what I'm doing because of the concepts we're going over right now. They need to, a lot of stuff is not written, but it's talked about in order to explain what we write. And so I'll be more than happy to do that with y'all too. It may be where it's the weekend before I get all those loaded up. But that still gives you, plenty of time to go back and look at them. But I'd like to go ahead and try to get all of chapter 11 onto video for you then. And then that way you can go back and listen and watch. I know in some of the courses, I've talked to some of the other instructors, they've gone to the trouble of doing this. And I'll be very honest with you, it's a very time consuming process. But again, too, I feel like it's something that you might do better with. And so I don't mind doing it as long as I know that someone's actually going to use them. Okay.
Yeah,
so,
I'm a person that needs to hear it, and I know Julie is too. She needs to hear it rather than reading it on paper, because I have to hear from the teacher as well, in order to understand it, rather than writing on paper. That way, I can write the steps down on how it got through. Because if I just see writing and like some writing, but if you're like talking through, I could also write steps on how to get there to understand.
Sure. One thing that my pre-cal students are doing, I've put up my finished notes, color coded and everything for them also. And what they're going to do is to, as they're looking at the notes, they're going to listen to or watch the Zoom also, and then take down any extra notes from the verbal part of what I do. I've been trying to actually write down everything that I'm thinking too as I do them. So you may not find much difference in what you're hearing and what I've written down, but I'm willing to do that also for you too. Now, as far as for actual homework problems themselves, I've got a couple here that Rachel sent me about section 11.5. Let me see if I can call up a couple of those for you.
From last night's homework.
Yeah.
I still can't get number 7 on 11.5. I think it's number 7. Oh,
Okay.
man. Please don't.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to work on it again today, but.
Okay. 11.5 to me, that's what I was telling the guys earlier, is that I believe that, let me see which one I want to do, blah, blah, blah. Okay. There we go. I believe that this is probably by far the hardest section right here. Okay. Because you're having to now combine what you learned about the counting principle with probability. So there's 2 levels of this. Let me look at 11.5, number 5 with you guys, and then we'll go to number 7 also, Julia, just so you can see what's going on there. So this is what my version of 11.5, number 5 looks like. Homework. This says that a group consists of 5 men and 6 women. So 5 men and 6 women. Right there, what you ought to be kind of understanding is that this is your sample space. And so what this implies to me here is that there's going to be 11 total people that we're working with. So this says the number in the sample is 11. Okay. The first thing, it's asking you 3 questions so that they can actually get to the final questions, what we want to know. But the first question says, in how many ways can 4 people be selected from a group of 11? And so if you're going to select 4 from 11, okay, there is no mention whatsoever in here about order and such like that. Okay, you just want 4 people and that's it. So if it's me, Julia, Zach, and Rachel, or if it's me, Jay, or me, Rachel, Jay, and Julia, it's still the same 4 people. It doesn't matter the order that we're chosen in. So when order doesn't matter, then we know it's going to be a combination. There are 11 people. You're selecting 4 at a time. So for answer A here, this tells us the number of ways you can choose 4 people out of 11. Okay. Now this number is going to be large. We expect it to be large. Part B says, in how many ways can 4 women be selected from 6 women? Remember, in our original group here, there were 6 women. And so they only want you to pick 4 of them. And so there are 6 women. We're going to pick 4 of them.
And then this we type into the calculator as well, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. You'll want to type these in and get what those values are. We'll do that in just a second. And then part C says, can you find the probability that the selected group will consist of all women? Okay. Well, that's exactly what part B was telling us, how many possibilities there are. This question, part C, says, what's the probability that you select all women? So what we're looking at, what is the number of, what are the number of ways that you can pick 4 women out of, what's the number of your sample space? Whoops, let me change something on that. That's not what I want to say there at all. Hold on. Whoa. Okay. The number of possible 4 people groups, right? So basically, what are you doing in part A? Oops. Part A. And what are you doing in, I got these backwards. Can y'all hear my dog snoring? Oh my gosh. Okay. This would be the value for part B. This is the part for part A. That's how we can set up our fraction. So if you've got your calculator, do y'all have your calculator? And the way to find this 11C4, we go to math.
Okay. Oh.
PROB. And then let me see, I always forget which number it is.
I need to find
number 3. Okay. Now, depending upon which calculator you have, the 83 more than likely is going to have you, whenever you type in math prop number 3, he's probably just going to put a C or an NCR there, something like that. So in 83s, usually you have to type in your number, and our number that we want to put in the numerator here would be a 6, and then the C, and then the 4. So depending upon what calculator you have, you'll have to start off possibly a little bit different. So everybody go to their calculator and see what version you have. When I go to mine prints off this. I have a little subscript box and a C, then a subscript box. That's what mine shows.
Mine shows it.
So what are we supposed to push? Math and then
PROB. And then choose the number 3 option.
That's what I got.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Does anybody get this on their paper? I mean, on their screen, NCR?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So what you're going to need to do in order to do combinations on the calculator, since we want 6C4 on your calculator, you're going to type in the number 6 first. So clear your calculator and punch the number 6. Then you're going to go to the math, PROB, and choose the number 3 option. And then you're going to type in your 4.
Okay.
Okay. So if you don't have the subscripted boxes, you have to put the number in front of C first, then go through the process, find the NCR, and then put the number behind the C last. Okay. What are y'all getting as an answer?
So
15.
Yeah, me too. So this would be the number 15. There's 15 ways to arrange 4 women out of a group of 6 women. So I already know that my numerator here is a 15. My denominator is out of the possible number of 4 people group. So remember, since there's 11 people, you might have a group that's men, 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 woman, okay? That is a possible 4-person group. Is it what we wanted? No, we want the one that's women, 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 women. But when we talk about the denominator is always your sample space. So your sample space is 11 choose 4. And so what's that turn out to be?
330.
330?
Yeah.
Okay, 330. So 15 divided by 330. Now, one thing I noticed, Rachel, on the one that you sent me, it said that you're supposed to return your answer as an integer or a fraction. And so what we would want to do is we would put 15 divided by 330 on our calculator. Okay. We don't give them the decimal value because they didn't say they wanted the decimal value. We're just going to go to math frac. And when you do the math frac, then you'll find out that this simplifies to 1 over 22. And that's the answer we're looking for. Okay.
Yeah, I was confused on how to get it to a fraction, but I totally blanked that I could totally do this on my calculator. Like,
well, it's just faster. You're more than welcome to do it by hand, but the answer choice that I just saw that you sent me, you had put in a decimal there, and it will not accept the decimal. And mainly it doesn't.
I was like, I don't know how to change it to a fraction, so I'm just like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, so are you better now, though?
Yeah, now that I can change it to a fraction on here.
That's the best part of our calculator. Okay. Now, also too, we would have set it up as 15 over 330. And you could have, if you didn't have a calculator or didn't know how to do it, remember your division rules. To divide by 5, you have to end in a 5 or a 0. So both 15 and 330 are divisible by 5. So we could have started that way, okay? And if we'd started that way, this fraction starts off then as a 3 over something. Let's see, that would have been 66, I think. And then 3 and 66 are both divisible by 3, so that'd be 1 over 22, sure enough. Okay, so you can always simplify your fraction on your own. Okay. All right, sound good?
Yep.
All right, so let me move to number 7 here. Is it question 7 or is it 11.5.7?
It's
Number 7, she was saying.
number 7, yeah.
Is this the one about the lottery?
Yes.
Okay. All righty, so let me get a clean window, and all of this is going to be saved, okay? I'll put up our Zoom meeting, so all of this will still be there. I'm just clearing it for me. All right, so the number 7 problem actually is in the textbook, 11.5, number 9, but this is number 7 on our homework set. In this case right here, it says in a lottery, the top cash prize was $691 million, and it's going to 3 lucky winners. Players pick 4 numbers from 1 to 52, and then 1 number from 1 to 46. So hold on just a second. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to pick 3 numbers, but we have to pick them from 1 to 52. And then our 4th number, so we're going to pick 1 more, and that number has to be between 1 and 46. Okay.
Okay.
So essentially, we're picking 4 numbers, right?
Right.
Okay. A player wins a minimum award of $350 by correctly matching 2 numbers drawn from the white balls and matching the number on the gold ball. Okay, so these are white. I don't know why they just didn't tell us that in the first place. Whoops. Let me rewrite that. Looks awful. Okay, so these are the white ones. These are the gold ones. Okay. And so that's how they win a minimum award. What is the probability of winning the minimum award? Okay, so let's write down what it said. So the probability of winning minimum award. Okay, so what this means is that this is our event right here. So since we know what the event looks like, let's see what he tells us. So we have to correctly match 2 numbers from the white balls, and we have to match the 1 gold ball. Okay, so only have to get 2. Okay, so let me write out what the event is. Okay, my event, which we usually call E, is going to be pick 2 white and 1 gold. Okay.
Okay.
That's going to be our event. What we have to figure out is that what is the number of ways that this event could happen? The number of ways that this event can happen. How many ways can you win? What's the sentence say?
On mine, it says, what is the probability of winning? Matching, well, mine's different, so I don't know.
What does it say?
Mine says I have to pick 4 different numbers, and 3 of them have to match. So on yours, I would think it would be, the first one we would have to figure out is, it'd be 3C2, because you only need 2 of the winning numbers out of the 3 that are picked.
That's right. That's right. And then we also need a gold one, right?
Right. And so there's 40.
There's 3 choices that I'll have, but 2 of them, right, need to be the correct. Okay. And actually means multiply. So once we figure out this, we'll multiply them. I'm picking only 1 ball.
Yes.
Only 1 of them is correct, right?
Right.
1, choose 1.
Right.
Okay. What this stands for is that 2 are
so
2
it wouldn't be
winners.
it wouldn't be 46C1?
46C1. Oh, okay.
Because you're picking 1 out of the 46. Or do I have that wrong? That's probably where I'm going wrong.
Well, let's see what our sample space would tell us. What is our sample space telling us here? How many balls are there in the sample? In the white balls, there's how many?
52.
52. And in this example, he says we're going to be selecting 3 of them. We only need 2 to be winners. And, right, at that same time, so times, we're going to be selecting what? 1 ball out of 46.
Right.
So the difference between what you're looking at sample versus what you're looking at event. The event is the number of ways you can win. So if I pick 3 balls, I can only win if the 2 of those 3 are actually winners. That's the only way I can do it.
Right.
And from the 1 gold ball that I picked, there's only 1 way for it to be a winner. So the numerator here just talks about how can you win. This is our event. The denominator, which is the sample space, is how many different combinations of 3 white balls can you get? Well, there's 52, choose 3. And how many different ways can you pick 1 gold ball? Well, there's 46 ways. We're picking only 1. So you have to change your mindset a little bit. This is for, I want to do this. Pick 2 white and 1 gold. Here's the deal though. The 2 white have to be winners and the gold ball has to be the winner. I'm only selecting 1. Okay. So the only way I can win is if that 1 ball I select is the winner. Okay. So if we look at this as a fraction, then the probability of winning a minimum award is going to equal to then 3 choose 2 times 1 choose 1 divided by 52 choose 3 and 46 choose 1.
Okay.
So you'll have to work the numerator out first to get a number and then work the denominator out. And they want your answer as a fraction or an integer. So of course, I would say 99% of the time you and I are going to have a fraction as an answer. So 3 choose 2 is going to give us what?
So we can put each one of those in the calculator and then times it, or do we need to put it all in the calculator on the top, like do a fraction and then?
That's what I would do. If you've got, do you have the fraction template key?
Yes.
Okay. If you have alpha y equal to, I'd go ahead and use the fraction key. If you don't, then what you're going to do is first you're just going to times these 2 combinations together and then record your answer here. Then go to the bottom, do these 2, record your answer here, and now see if this fraction can be simplified. You can do it either way. I'll do mine separately and see if you can put yours all together, and let's see what happens then. Oops. So if I go to my math PROB, number 3, okay. Do you think that people have a good chance at this, of winning?
No.
Me neither. I don't think they have a very good chance at all.
6.
Let me use a different color so I can show you. I'm plugging these in.
It's not letting me put it in the fraction. Oh, wait. Yeah, it's
that number's a 3.
You have to do a lot of steps, put it in your calculator like it wants, but
yeah, I know. I got the fraction part. Like I got a 3 and then I got 1016600 for the second one.
Uh-huh.
And then I tried dividing it and then I did a fraction, it said no. Like it just gave me another decimal. It gave me another decimal when I tried to put in the fraction.
Well, let me see what these numbers are. This one right here is 22,100. Okay, and then what do we have? 46 choose It may be where just those two numbers are so huge.
Mm-hmm.
Remember how our calculator likes to go into scientific notation, and then when he just doesn't want to do anything, he'll say, I quit.
Yeah, I got like a huge number. I tried to do
46
by 10166600. And then I tried to transfer that fraction into the decimal into a fraction. It was like, no.
Yeah, because you know why? The number 3 and the number, what is that? 1,016,600 do not share a common factor.
So
it won't
like that.
It won't simplify it.
So putting it all in our calculator won't work.
Well, what it'll do is it'll give you a situation where you can actually, like I did here, I did this one by itself.
Mm-hmm.
Then I did this one by itself, and then I times them together to give me the denominator.
I got those to multiply, like where you did in blue, but the red on top. I got it to give me that 10166600 number, like right away when I multiply. But when I tried to divide the 3 by 10166600, it wouldn't let me put it into a fraction.
Right. It basically what he's telling you is that if you can't go back to math frac, what he's telling you is that that fraction was already simplified.
Oh, it's already simplified?
If it won't go back to the fraction representation, because like put in your calculator like a 4 divided by 20. All right, and then hit enter and you'll get a decimal.
Mm-hmm.
Now go back to math and hit frac. Hit enter. Right, because the fraction could have been simplified. Okay, ours doesn't have a chance because 3 is a prime number, and when a number ends in 0, you can't divide it by 3. So that's why he won't go any further for you.
So when you done your 46C1, you got a decimal?
No, I got the number 46. You can't really, hold on, let me see. Let me put y'all, there we go. Okay, so I got the number right here. Whoops, to be 46. Because if you have 46 objects and you pick one at a time, well, there's 46 ways to do that. That's
okay, so we just times it by 46 then. Okay.
Right.
Oh my God, I'm so confused. You can go. Yeah, go ahead. Oh yeah, he can call me. Okay. Okay, so that's my bottom number. C. Where is it at? 4. So 4 divided by 1140,984. So it doesn't want a decimal, right?
No,
So I got on mine, because I'm doing my problem, I got 4 divided by 1140,984. And when I do that, it gives me a decimal. So I just need to try to see if it breaks it down. Like,
yeah, you have to go to, so you have your answer, right? Highlight your answer, like put it on the number, and then hit math 1, which is math frac or fraction.
My calculator. Okay, clear. Math. Enter. It doesn't give me a fraction that way. It don't let me
gives you a decimal still.
No, it says answer frac, but it doesn't
Yeah,
like
you
let
have
me.
to enter.
I did.
Okay, so what it's trying to tell you then is that the fraction that you just wrote cannot be simplified as a fraction. It can be written as a decimal, but it can't be written as a fraction. And what I was telling Rachel to do is like, let's say that you had the fraction 20 divided by 25. Put that on your calculator so you can see what I'm talking about.
Say it again. What?
Okay, put in 20 divided by 25. Okay, now hit enter.
Okay.
Okay, now go to math.
Okay.
Hit frac. Hit enter.
And it's 4 divided by 5.
That's right. Now that the reason why that fraction gave you another fraction answer is because 20 and 25 both have a common factor of 5 in them. So you could have canceled a 5 in the top and the 5 in the bottom whenever you had 20 over 25. Okay. So if the fraction you give them can be simplified, then when you hit math frac, he'll give you a different fraction representation of what you had. Now, if you do math frac and he says, I'm still a decimal here, then that means that your fraction was already in simplified form. Does that make sense?
Yes. It just seems like a lot for that problem, though.
Well, and I'll be honest with you, this one is extremely difficult. So is the next one that they have on here. I'll tell you what, let me run through. I didn't think they were going to get quite this difficult.
Yeah, number 7 for me was really hard. I decided not to do it.
I'm afraid that what will happen is that you'll get to the point where you're like, no. So I don't need you to quit on me.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not letting me right now. I'm trying to enter that answer in to see if it's right, but it's not letting me submit my answer.
Okay.
I don't know if it's because it's closed or what, but.
Okay. I'll tell you what, will y'all give me a few minutes and let me run through this homework assignment? I thought that I had cleaned this one up a little bit because some of the problems really are a little bit too difficult for us. Let me run through them and I'll let y'all know which ones you can omit. Okay, I can't, well, maybe it'll let me take them out even. If it'll let me take them out, I'll just take them out. But I'm afraid that because we've started them, it won't let me actually delete it. So if not, I'll just tell you which ones we'll omit, and whenever I do your grade, I'll change it. Okay. Okay. I don't want y'all to get discouraged, but this is like I told you, this section is very, very difficult. Yeah, let me go back through there and check these out. I thought I had cleaned this section up for you.
Yeah, I was struggling myself. You could probably look at mine, because usually I'm pretty good, but like this unit, I like specifically this section, like this 11.5.
If you look at problem, like if you look at problem 11, if you happen to have it up there, that's great. If not, that's okay. But this is more like the type of problem I'm interested in you looking at. This one says, if you're dealt 3 cards from a shuffled deck of 52 cards, find the probability that all 3 cards are queens. That's more like what I'm interested in.
You know, I took that last night. I was trying to do that, and I was going way more than what I needed to do.
Sure.
And that's probably because the previous problems, because that one actually was very easy.
Yeah, that's the same one that I had trouble with that one as well. When it is simple, but like I was just going way beyond my head.
Let me go in there, because that's what I'm afraid of, is that you're going to get too bogged down in some of these that have multiple steps to them, and those are really not the objective that we're trying to cover. So let me run through, and I will send you a message, an announcement that tells you which ones I'm going to be omitting whenever I look at your grade for that section. I'll put myself down here a note about 11.5. I'll just put regrade. and I will go in there and obviously number 7's coming out for sure. We're talking about what number of the 20
I think number 8 was the same as well.
I think it was.
I'm gonna have to go back to work. My lunch hour is over, but I will try to get on Thursday, okay?
Okay, sounds good. And I'll post this one too. And like I said, I'll send an announcement to you, okay?
All right, thank you.
Okay, good to see you, Julie.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, you guys, our hour is just about up, actually. Let me, if you'll let me go in there and, like I said, clean this up, and I'll shoot you a message here in the next 15 minutes, okay? But I definitely don't want you to get all bogged down because of that. That's not what I need to happen with you. All right, guys, you okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, cool. All right, please work on the homework so that when we get together on Thursday, we can talk about any questions you have. I've also put up, 11.6 is up there already for you. So please look through those notes. That one is about odds in favor and odds against. And I think that was really the only new kind of thing in that section. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Well, y'all stay safe, and I will pick up with you again soon.
Okay.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.